Today, we're not just talking about some rule in a dusty old safety manual. We're talking about a procedure that is, quite literally, the last thing standing between a worker and a life-altering accident. We're going to dive deep into lockout/tagout and really understand why getting this right is a matter of life and death. Let's get right into it. So just how big of a deal is this? Well, this number right here kind of says it all. 50,000. According to OSHA, that's how many serious injuries are prevented every single year just by doing lockout-tagout procedures correctly. Think about that. That's an entire stadium full of people who get to go home to their families instead of to an emergency room. This isn't just a number, it's proof of the incredible impact of doing this the right way. And this is what happens when things go horribly wrong. Just picture it. A maintenance worker is inside a machine clearing a simple jam, something they've probably done 100 times. But then a coworker, who has no idea they're in there, restarts the line. In a split second, that machine starts up, and a routine task becomes a devastating tragedy. And you know, the absolute worst part about it? It was 100% preventable. And that prevention is exactly what lockout/tagout, or LOTO as you'll hear it called, is all about. This is the official OSHA safety standard, 29 CFR 1910-147, and its whole purpose is to make absolutely sure a machine cannot be restarted while someone is working on it. It's a system that literally puts the power of safety into the worker's own hands.
You know, here's a really common mistake people make. They think LOTO is just about electricity, but we're talking about any kind of hazardous energy. I mean, think about it. It could be the mechanical energy coiled up in a giant spring. It could be hydraulic pressure in a line, chemical energy, thermal heat, even just the potential energy of a raised piece of equipment held up by gravity. Basically, if it can move unexpectedly and hurt someone, LOTO is designed to control it. Now, the standard defines two really important roles, the authorized employee and the affected employee. The easiest way to think about it is this. The authorized employee is the person who does the lockout. They're the one who physically puts the lock on the machine. The affected employee is pretty much anyone else who works in that area. Their job is just as critical. They need to see that lock, understand what it means, and know that they must never try to start that machine up. As you can imagine, the training for these two roles is very, very different.
And this brings us to another key point, the difference between a lockout and a tagout. A lockout is a physical device, a lock, that makes it impossible to turn the power on. A tagout, on the other hand, is just a warning sign. It's kind of like the difference between a brick wall stopping you and a keep out sign asking you to stop. That's why a lockout is always the way to go if it's possible. So what does a proper LOTO procedure look like? Well, it always follows these 6 critical steps in this order. You prepare and tell everyone what you're doing. You shut the machine down normally. You isolate it from all its energy sources, you apply your personal lock and tag, you get rid of any leftover stored energy, and finally, and this is so important, you verify the isolation. We're gonna come back to that last step because that's where things can get really dangerous if you miss a detail.
All right, so we've covered the basics, but listen, knowing the steps on paper is one thing. Applying them perfectly every single time, under pressure in the real world, that's something else. So now let's put that knowledge to the test with a few tricky questions that focus on the most common and most dangerous mistakes people make.
Okay, here's our first situation. A worker's shift is over, but the repair job isn't finished yet. Their personal lock is still on the machine. So who is allowed to take that lock off? The supervisor? Any other trained worker? The head of safety? Or the person who actually put it on there in the first place? Think about it.
And the answer is C. The only person who has the authority to remove that lock is the employee who put it on. This is maybe the most fundamental rule of LOTO. Your lock is your life. You and only you are in control of it. Now, sure, there are very strict, very specific emergency procedures for if an employee goes home and forgets. But the day-to-day rule is simple. You put it on, you take it off. It's all about personal control and accountability.
Okay, next up, true or false? Let's say you've got a crew of 5 people all working on the same big piece of equipment. The supervisor wants to keep things simple, so they put their personal lock on the main power disconnect and tell the crew, we're all set, it's locked out. Is that an acceptable way to do a group lockout?
The answer to that is a huge, resounding false. This is one of the most critical and dangerous mistakes a team can make. When you have a group lockout, the rule is one person, one lock. Every single person working on that machine has to attach their own personal lock to the group device. That's the only way to guarantee that the power cannot be turned back on until every last person has finished their work and removed their own lock. Okay, last question, and I gotta tell you, this is a subtle one that trips up a lot of even experienced people. So you've done everything right. You isolated the power, you put on your lock, and now you're at the verification step. You push the start button to make sure it's dead. It doesn't start. Great. Now, what is the absolute last critical thing you have to do immediately after that test?
And the correct answer is C. You have to return all the controls to the neutral or off position. Now, why is this so unbelievably important? Because if you leave that start button pushed in, the second your lock comes off and the power is restored, that machine will jump to life instantly with zero warning. This tiny little oversight completely defeats the entire purpose of the lockout procedure.
All right, we've gone through the theory, we've tackled the tricky questions. Now let's put it all together and see what this looks like in a real-world scenario. We're gonna walk through the proper LOTO procedure for a simple conveyor belt from start to finish, just to see how all these rules become a life-saving practice. Okay, so here we go. You're the authorized employee. First, you find the operator in the area and notify them. Next, you shut down the conveyor using its normal stop button. Then, you head over to the main electrical disconnect, you open that circuit, and you apply your personal lock and your tag. You'd also release any stored energy, right? Like maybe slackening the tension on the belt. And now for that last critical step. You go back to the control panel, you try to hit start to confirm there's no power, and then, just like we talked about, you immediately return that button to the off position. Now and only now is it safe to begin your work.
You know, if there's just one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this phrase. This is the heart and soul of LOTO. Your safety is in your hands. It's your responsibility. And your lock is the tool that guarantees it. One person, one lock, one key. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. Is your lockout/tagout knowledge just something you learned to pass a test? Or is it a deeply ingrained habit that is actively protecting you and the people around you every single day? It's one thing to know the rules, but is your workplace practicing them perfectly every single time?
Hey, if this breakdown was helpful for you, make sure you subscribe to HSE Study for more deep dives into critical workplace safety standards. We work hard to take these complex regulations and give you the practical knowledge you need to stay safe on the job. Thanks so much for watching.